Hello, hello. I am back with my favorite, probably my favorite tool that Creative Memories has right now. It's the border punch. And I'm gonna show you guys not only a couple examples of what I have made, but I'll do a little demo and show you guys some other tips and ideas. So let me switch you over to my desktop. So this is our border maker. It comes with this ruler and then the body, the punch body. And then you also get to choose between two templates. And the one you always get is the picket fence, which is this one. And then right now you get to choose between either the apple or I can't remember which, but you always get to choose, you always get the picket fence and then you always get to choose one more. And that option always changes. But the great thing about the border maker is it's always on sale. So the price of the border maker with 2 punches is less than the price of 2 punches. So you're always going to get a sale on this item. Let me show you real quick a few samples of what I have done in my books. Here's one. And it's upside down probably to you guys, but I wanted to show you these clouds. So the way this was done was I punched one and then flipped my paper over and punched again. And so then the clouds are in a different spot, if you can tell. And then I popped the top clouds up. So there's some dimension there. And I inked around the edge of this cloud and then stitched around this cloud. So it turned out super cute. So yeah, the little pop dots are gonna really be handy. Here's another example of some of my border punch uses. I just punched a bunch of borders. So here's the cloud. I can't remember what this one's called. This one I actually cut with my trimmer. More cloud. More cloud, and then I layered them and cut them in the shape of a tree. So that was really cute. This one, I just used part of a border, so I didn't do the whole page, the whole width of a page. And then what I did is I punched 2 in white and 1 in red, and then I layered them, and it makes it look like it has a shadow. I'm gonna get it up here close. It just looks like it has a shadow. Isn't that cool? This one I wanted to show you because I used what I call punch poop. So normally this part is punched out, this insert in here. So I punched a red and a blue with this. This is called lamplight. I used the red and the blue, punched it with red and blue, and then I used the red punch poop inside my blue lamplight, and that turned out really cute. And some of them have some very cool what I call punch poop. This one is where I just punched a few strips and then cut them into smaller strips and made a border out of them. So the page is supposed to go like this, if you can see that. Let me get rid of this. There we go. So I just punched a bunch of them and then cut them in smaller pieces and made a border, and that looks really cool. And then some of them you don't need to do a whole border with. So I did a whole border of this on this side, but then I just did part of it over here. So I thought that turned out really cute. And lastly, I wanted to show you my candy canes. And again, I punched 1 green and 2 bronze and just layered them to make it look like a shadow. And then I punched it up, or popped it up so that it's got some dimension with the rest of my page. And that turned out super cute. So one thing about the borders I want to make sure and tell you is that they go fast. So if you see something you want, you need to get it because they don't stick around. So a lot of those borders that I just showed you aren't even available anymore. But I wanted to show you another technique with this picket fence that you can do. And I'm gonna cut a strip of about, I guess I'm gonna do about 1/2 inch of this yellow. I don't know how good this is gonna look, but just for the sake of the video, it'll be fine. And then you just thread it through, and you can thread it like every other one. You can thread it through 1 and then 2, or 1 and then 3, you know, whatever you think looks good. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And it just gives it an entirely different look. And you could do a smaller strip. You probably have a room to go a little wider if you wanted. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. And see how that looks just totally different than the picket fence? Super cute, right? I think so. Another thing, so I'm gonna cut this off real quick and show you. So when you have smaller, and I've showed this before, but I'm gonna show it again. When you have a smaller piece of paper, you'll understand that you need some help, because you have to have enough room for this magnet to close onto your paper to keep it where it's supposed to be so you can punch. So when you have a smaller piece of paper, you have 2 options. You can get sticky notes and just extend your current piece of paper with sticky notes. Or the other option is to just flip your piece of paper over. So I'm gonna make sure that I fill up the hole here. So you see now it's not filled. Now it is. So fill up the hole, just barely fill it up, and punch. Get rid of your trash, and then just match it up. And punch again. You can do it 2 ways. You can do it upside down like I just did, or you can do with the sticky notes. Either way works. I think the sticky notes is a little easier, but if you don't have sticky notes, then you have an option. The other thing you can do is you can mix cartridges. Now when you mix cartridges, you want to make sure that they're either, when you mix 2, you want to make sure they're either both sticking to the paper or falling off. And when I say sticking, I mean, so if you can see on this punch, it stays on the paper. Or the picket fence, it stays on the paper. Where like this candy cane, you can see it, it's gonna fall off. It's a chain. It's gonna be a separate piece of paper from your original paper. So I'll show you a chain here real quick. I'm gonna do this lamplight and the barbed wire. And there's no rhyme or reason to what looks good. You can just pick and choose. But as you can see, I'll demonstrate again. I know I've done this before, but you put your paper on this blue tray. I think most of them are blue. The new one might be black. Anyways, this is your guide. This shows you where your paper needs to be. So you put your paper in the guide, close the magnet portion, and then you can get rid of this guide. And if you look on the border punches, they have these 2 notches on them. And the notches go right in the slots on this little ruler piece. So the other trick is there's a notch on the casing and there's a notch on the ruler on top, so you can see where it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to punch the middle 2 of this one. So this is a chain. You can see that if I had done the whole thing, it would just fall away from my original piece of paper. And then I'm going to switch to the barbed wire, and I'm going to do the rest of it in barbed wire. And some borders you can do like punch and slide, but some you can't. So I just recommend punching, pulling completely out, and then coming back in the next slot. And there you go. And this is, I'm going to set this aside, this little piece of paper, because I want to talk to you about that. But that is our mixed up border punch chain. Doesn't that look good? That would look great on a page. And you could mix all kinds of punches. The reason I set this aside is I want to talk to you about these. When you do punch a chain, usually you have a little tiny strip of paper left over, and we call these magic strips. They can be good for tags, so the little string-like parts of a tag. They could be good for all kinds of things. So if you're working with tags or working with something where you need a little tiny strip of paper, rather than cut it on your trimmer, which is kind of difficult for this size, you can just punch a border and get a little magic strip out of it. I think lastly, I want to show you, these are collector pieces, I wanted to remind you. So if you see something you like, get it, because it will be gone. They're definitely collector items. I wanted to talk to you about one other option, one other cool way to use the border punch if you want to do like a photo mat. So say you wanted to mat a 4x6 photo and you wanted there to be a little border on top. So what you do is for a 4x6 photo, you want to cut a piece of paper 4 1/4 by 7 1/4. And then get that piece out, and you want to line it up with the 1, 2, 3rd mark on the ruler, if you can see those marks. We're going to line it up with this 3rd mark, which is basically the center. So if you look at it when I put the ruler away, it's basically centered up quite nicely with these notches. I probably could do a better job, actually. Let's just work on that for a second. There we go. So it's kind of centered evenly between these notches. And what we're gonna do, I guess I'll do the barbed wire. No, I'm gonna do candy cane since it's red paper. We're gonna punch twice here in the middle. And there what you have is a perfect little photo mat with a border on top. Isn't that cute? And then say you're working with a landscape and you want the border up here, okay? You need a 6 1/4 by a 5 1/4 piece. And the same thing, you're just gonna center it up. Center it up in your border punch. I feel like that's pretty centered. And there you go. There's your border maker up there. And you could totally do, you know, one that stays on the paper, and then it'll have a totally different look. So let's just make an example of that real quick, and I'll do the clouds, because you could do clear across the top, right? Because it doesn't fall away. Center it again. I'm going to punch 4 times this time. And there's a completely different look for a photo mat. Let's get rid of my trash, sorry. Cute, right? Okay, so those are my tips on the border maker. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you all soon.